So then guys, Apple have the brand new iPhone 13 models, just like this iPhone 13 Pro Max that I have right here. However, Apple still sell their older iPhones, like this iPhone 11 that I have right here. However, in 2021 and going into 2022, what is the right iPhone to buy for you with what Apple currently sells in their Apple shop and on their website? Well, today I'm going to be doing a buyer's guide just for you on what iPhones Apple sell and which one could be the right model for you to buy. Hi guys, it's Matt here. So that's right, Apple have started selling the brand new iPhone 13 models. However, Apple do still sell a lot of their older iPhone models on their website and also in the Apple Store, and you can still get yourself quite a good deal if you go out and about and find yourself a brand new iPhone. So today I'm going to make you a buyer's guide on what iPhones are available from Apple right now, and this guide is going to show you what is probably the best iPhone you can buy for size, budget, features, all those good bits and pieces. So first of all, let's start with the cheapest iPhone that Apple sell right now, and it's also an old design iPhone, and also is probably one of the smallest iPhones that Apple sell, and that is the iPhone SE. Apple launched this iPhone last year in 2020, and it carries over a very similar design to the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 7, the 6S, and obviously the iPhone 6. That kind of design where we have a screen in the middle and we also got Touch ID. But I want to go over some of the other features on specs on what this iPhone also has. So this phone does actually have some great specs inside it. It has a 4.7 inch display, which is an LCD one, with a resolution of 1334 by 750, and this is a 60Hz refresh panel inside. We also have got 3GB of RAM packed inside it, with two storage options of 64GB or 128GB. There is also the A13 Bionic chipset, which is about 2 years old now, and this phone also has 4G connectivity. The body is made out of an aluminium body, and then on the actual phone, on the rear of the phone, we have a 12 megapixel single camera sort of shooter on the back, and then on the front we just have a standard sort of camera, selfie camera or FaceTime camera. The battery inside this is a 1821 milliamp battery size, and the base model, the 64GB model, comes in at $399 US. So as you can see guys, this is a great entry point iPhone that Apple still sell. It has a great chipset inside it, the A13 chipset. However, it also has that Touch ID as well, because a lot of people would like Touch ID to Face ID, and it's the only iPhone in the iPhone lineup that actually has this. To me though, I feel that this iPhone is a bit dated now. It has only got a 4.7 inch screen, and that is very, very small for the size of this actual iPhone. There isn't much you can really kind of view on it. It's very, very old. And talk about old, the design is also very old as well. This design first came about with the iPhone 6, and yes, it has had enhancements, for example, like with a glass back, and also you can do sort of wireless charging with it now. But to be honest, the battery size is really small inside this iPhone, and it will drain really quickly with that A13 chipset inside. To me, it's not really worth getting unless you are a super light user of an iPhone, or you'll have a power bank, or you'll be near a charger throughout the day quite a lot, because you will be needing to charge up this iPhone. Don't get me wrong, for the starting price of $399, it is still a really, really good iPhone, and it is a great iPhone if you want to get into the Apple ecosystem for the first time and you're not a person who really uses your phone that much. So with that phone out of the way, let's move on to the next iPhone. And that phone is the iPhone 11. This phone is now 2 years old, and it is still a fantastic iPhone. To me, I think this is probably the better budget iPhone to buy over the iPhone SE, what I just showed you a moment ago. And let me tell you the reason why by showing you some specs. So right away, the iPhone 11 has a larger display as a 6.1 inch LCD display with a resolution of 2532 by 1170. It also has that same 3GB of RAM as the iPhone SE, and also has the choice of 64GB or 128GB. It also has that A13 Bionic chipset inside it, the exact same one that we actually have inside the iPhone SE. There is an aluminium body, SE, but this time we also have got a 12 megapixel dual camera setup on the back of a wide and ultra wide lenses, and as you can tell by the size of these lenses, they let in a lot more light compared to say the iPhone SE, so your pictures will be even more crisper. And then the same with the battery size. The battery is a 3110 milliamp battery, what's quite a large battery, and this phone starts at $499 for the 64GB model. So as you can see, you're getting a load of phone for only $100 more than the iPhone SE. You're getting that brand new kind of camera system. These camera lenses on the iPhone 11 let in far more light than compared to the iPhone SE. Also the fact as well that you've got a wide and ultra wide, where you've just got a standard wide on the iPhone SE, and it doesn't let in as much light. Don't get me wrong, the iPhone SE is still a great snapper, but the iPhone 11 for $100 more pushes those boundaries. On top of this as well, you're getting a 6.1 inch display compared to the 4.7 inch display on the iPhone SE. Also, you're getting a bigger battery inside this iPhone. The battery inside the iPhone 11 is like about 60% larger than what you're getting inside the iPhone SE. So you can definitely probably get a day's worth of battery out of this if you use it regularly and didn't overboard it with too much graphics intensive tasks, or for example, you didn't record too many videos. You could definitely get a day's battery out of it. And this is definitely, I'd say, my phone of choice if you're on a budget and you want to come to the Apple ecosystem for the first time, or if you just want to get yourself just a plain old iPhone, this is the one I would pick. I probably would actually pick this over the iPhone 12, and that is the next iPhone that I actually want to talk about. So just quickly, I want to talk about today's sponsor, and today's sponsor is very relevant about the video we're talking about, and that is the sponsors from Casetify. Now, Casetify makes some fantastic cases what you can customize, and you can choose different kind of patterns, and you can even put your own words on it, just like this case that I have right here. Casetify have made me this case in my channel color and also in my channel writing, the yellow and blue. But also what makes Casetify cases amazing is that they actually make MagSafe compatible cases. So this allows you to charge up your iPhone with using a case on it, and you can use that MagSafe charger all at the same time. What's absolutely unbelievable. Something else what I love about the Casetify cases has got to be to do with that Qi technology. Now what the Qi technology is all about is that you can drop these cases or drop these phones in your case from heights of about 6'6", and in some cases with their ultra impact cases from 9'8". And I can't imagine a scenario really where you're going to really drop your phone in daily use any higher than that. Also, what makes these cases amazing is that they're actually made out of 65% of recycled materials. So Casetify are doing their bit for the planet. And then finally, to put that cherry on top, they've also got this feature built onto their cases, what's applied to it, what's called Defensify. And what that is, it's an antimicrobial kind of layer on their cases to keep away 99% of bacteria. Right now, Casetify are offering 15% of all of their cases, and that's if you use the code that I'm putting on the screen now, and I'll be putting it in my description as well. So do check out the Casetify cases. Right, back to the comparison. Now the iPhone 12 is the next iPhone that Apple do sell, and it came out only last year. Now we did have the likes of the iPhone 12 mini, the iPhone 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max, but Apple have dropped this and they now only just sell the iPhone 12. Let's go over some of the specs about the iPhone 12. So the iPhone 12 does have a 6.1 inch display, however it's an OLED display, not an LCD display like the iPhone 11 has. The resolution of this is 2532 by 1070, there is now 4GB of RAM inside, and there are storage options of 64 to 256GB. There is the brand new A14 Bionic chipset inside it, and also 5G connectivity. The body is made out of an aluminium body, and we also on the rear have got a 12 megapixel dual camera setup, a wide and an ultra wide camera lens. Both of these lenses let in a little bit more light than the iPhone 11, so you do get slightly brighter pictures, and low light photography is a little bit more improved. However, the iPhone 12 does pack in a 2815 milliamp battery size, and the base model starts at $599 for that 64GB option. So some other things to note about the iPhone 12 is actually it was the first to get the brand new design like what the iPhone 13 shares. The phone is actually slimmer than the likes of the iPhone 11, for example, and the iPhone SE. But you're also getting some sacrifices with it. The actual battery is actually smaller than what you actually get inside the iPhone 11. So the iPhone 11, even though it's got the same size screen and everything, you'll actually get a better battery life out of it. However, with the iPhone 12, you are also getting an LED or an OLED display, whereas on the iPhone 11, you're just getting an LED display or an LCD display. Actually, it's not an LED, it's an LCD display. So this is kind of the old traditional sort of display like the iPhone SE has. But you can't ignore that the iPhone 11 still does look really, really good. But the iPhone 12 does also have a few other advantages as well. For example, it does have 5G capability, where the iPhone 11 doesn't have that. So if you do want super fast data transfer out and about, the iPhone 12 is definitely worth getting for that reason alone. Also at the same time as well, the cameras are slightly better inside the iPhone 12 over the iPhone 11. There's not much to it, but there is definitely some improvements there. But to be honest, every year, Apple do massive improvements to their camera. So the iPhone 12 is definitely worth getting. Plus also on the fact you also get that A14 chipset inside it, what means a bit more faster speed, and also at the same time Apple will probably be supporting this iPhone a little longer compared to the iPhone SE and also the iPhone 11. So let's move on to the next iPhone. The next iPhones are the iPhone 13 models, and let's start with the iPhone 13 mini and let's go over the specs of that iPhone. So starting with the screen size, it is quite small. It's a 5.4 inch model, but yes, it is bigger than the iPhone SE with its 4.7 inch. It is an OLED display again, and the resolution of this is 2340 by 1080. We have 4GB of RAM inside, and we have the choice of between 128GB to 512GB in storage options. There's an A15 Bionic chipset inside it with 5G connectivity, aluminium body, and we also got a 12 megapixel dual camera setup on the rear with a wide and ultra wide, and we've also got that sensor shift technology in the standard wide lens. The battery size inside this iPhone 13 mini is a 2405 milliamp battery, and the base model comes in at $699 for the 128GB model. So this iPhone has a lot of great specs inside it for such a small phone. It is a great phone if you want a dinky little phone in your pocket. But to be deadly honest, that is what is going for this iPhone. A lot of people don't actually pick the iPhone mini models. Only pick this iPhone if you really, really need a small phone inside your pocket, because you're going to have to sacrifice on a lot of other things. So for example, the battery life. The battery in this is really, really small. It's not as small as what you're getting inside the iPhone SE, for example, so you'll get a better battery life than that, but you're paying that premium for this iPhone just because it's the new iPhone, but the battery life isn't going to be that good. You are definitely going to need to charge it up probably during the day if you are kind of a regular user of an actual smartphone. But let's move on to the bigger brother of this iPhone, and this is the normal iPhone 13, and let's go over the specs of this phone. So the iPhone 13 does have that 6.1 inch display, very similar to the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12. It's an OLED display, and the resolution on this is 2532 by 1170. There's 4GB of RAM, and the choice of storage again is between 128GB to 512GB. There's the A15 Bionic chipset inside with 5G connectivity. The body's made out of aluminium, and you've got that 12 megapixel dual camera setup again with a wide and ultra wide, and you've got that sensor shift technology in the standard wide lens. The battery size inside the iPhone 13 is a 3095 milliamp battery, and the base model comes in at $799 for the 128GB model. So this iPhone shares most, if not exactly the same features of its younger brother, the iPhone 13 mini. One of the features I didn't actually mention about with the iPhone 13 mini and also the iPhone 13 does have is also the new sensor stabilization in its primary wide actual sensor of the phone. And this is absolutely amazing because only the iPhone 12 Pro Max last year got this, and basically the budget iPhone 13, the 13 mini and the normal 13 are getting it this year. and this is amazing to have inside your camera system. The actual lenses on both the 13 mini and the 13 are brilliant. They let in a lot more light compared to, say, the iPhone 12, and they give you some amazing shots. You're also getting a brighter screen on the iPhone 13 compared to, say, the iPhone 12. And most importantly, one of the biggest features I think is that the iPhone 13 does have a larger battery compared to the iPhone 12. In fact, it has been told that you will get around about 2.5 extra hours a day of battery life compared to an iPhone 12. The iPhone 13 actually is also slightly thicker, like by 1 or 2 millimeters because of this, but it's absolutely amazing to have this. However, if your budget can stretch it, I would actually say if you can afford an iPhone 13 Pro, what's the next one I want to talk about, over an iPhone 13, I would definitely pick this. And let me go over some of the specs for the iPhone 13 Pro. So the first spec is the screen size, and this is a 6.1 inch display, very similar to the 11, the 12, and also the standard iPhone 13. It's an OLED display, again with a 2532 by 1170 resolution. However, it does have that 120Hz ProMotion adaptive refresh rate. We've also got 6GB of RAM inside this phone, and storage options between 128GB to 512GB, and also a 1TB storage option. We have an A15 Bionic with 5G connectivity, a stainless steel frame body this time, and we also have got a 12 megapixel triple camera lens setup. So we have a wide, ultra wide, and a 3x telephoto lens inside, and we also get that LiDAR sensor. Then on top of this, the battery size is the same as the iPhone 13 normal. It has a 3095 mAh battery size, and the base model is coming in at $999 US. So the iPhone 13 Pro, apart from that extra lens, you might not think there's that much in it between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro, but you'd be absolutely wrong. That adaptive screen, that ProMotion display, is an amazing feature to have on the iPhone 13 Pro, and that alone is worth picking because even though the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro share the exact same battery inside it, the actual iPhone 13 Pro actually gets a better battery life compared to the iPhone 13 because it's an adaptive ProMotion display. So this basically means that if you're scrolling around on the internet, for example, it can slow down the refresh rate and it will save on battery life. But when you do need a strong kind of refresh rate, if you're playing like a 60 frames per second or even 120 frames per second sort of game out there, then basically the phone can adapt to go up to that amount. And this is absolutely incredible to have inside it. Also, something else to talk about is also the lenses and the sensors inside the iPhone 13 Pro. We do have that sensor shift technology, but that sensor shift technology is in fact in all of the lenses, not just the standard one. It's in the actual wide, the ultra wide, and also that telephoto was absolutely incredible. On top of this as well, you get nighttime photography out of all three lenses, where with the normal iPhone 13, it's just the wide lens. You don't get it with the ultra wide lens. So this again is something definitely worth considering to get. The iPhone 13 Pro, to me, if you wanted to get yourself a brand new iPhone, is definitely the one to pick because the amount of features you're getting for the amount of money is absolutely incredible. However, if you did want a phone slightly larger than the iPhone 13 Pro, you could get yourself this. And this is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. This is the largest iPhone and the most expensive iPhone that Apple sell. Let's go over the specs of this iPhone. So the specs for the 13 Pro Max include a 6.7 inch OLED display. This is the largest iPhone out there. It has a resolution of 2778 by 1280, and we also get that 120Hz ProMotion display inside this iPhone 13 Pro Max, and what is also an adaptive refresh rate. There's 6GB of RAM and storage options between 128GB all the way up to 1TB. There's also that A15 Bionic chipset with 5G connectivity, a stainless steel frame body, and then again with the camera setup, it is almost identical. In fact, it is identical to the iPhone 13 Pro with a 12 megapixel camera in all three, and you get a wide, ultra wide, and 3x telephoto on this. You also get that LiDAR sensor, but then for battery size, it is the largest one. It's a 4,352 milliamp battery. The base model for this iPhone for the 128GB model starts at $1,099 US. So really, compared to the iPhone 13 Pro, there isn't that much in it with the iPhone 13 Pro Max compared to the iPhone 13 Pro. The main difference is definitely it's a larger iPhone. You get a 6.78-inch display from diagonally across here, and also you will get a larger battery, and that kind of makes sense because it's a larger phone. There's more space to fit a larger battery in, and also because of that larger screen, it needs to power it a little bit longer. This does also mean that the battery life is slightly better than an iPhone 13 Pro, but if you can afford this phone, it is definitely worth getting. But remember, it is quite a large iPhone, but if your budget is a little bit lower, get yourself the iPhone 13 Pro, because the specs and everything inside that phone and this phone here are exactly the same. They are identical. That adaptive screen, those lenses, those censorship, that nighttime photography, like I said, the adaptive screen, what I've already spoke about. The only changes is with the iPhone 13 Pro Max compared to the iPhone 13 Pro is just the battery size and just the screen size. Well guys, that is pretty much a summary of all the different iPhones out there. I would love to know from you guys, which iPhone are you planning to possibly buy in the next year? Let me know in the comments below. And also at the same time guys, if you've really enjoyed watching this video, do press the like button. Well, it's time to also wrap up this video, so if you do want the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons like we've just done today, please do hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell. Until next time guys, I'll see you really soon. Bye bye now.